All right, so hey, costly mistakes can cost a homeowner to lose thousands of dollars on the sale of their home. Stay tuned. I'm going to show you some tips of how to avoid these costly mistakes and how to help you get the most out of the sale of your house. Hey, don't make price a factor when you're choosing your listing agent, and I'm going to explain why here very, very shortly. Guys, this is Jason with Coldwell Banker, High Desert Realty. I wanted to thank you for tuning into this episode of Going Deep with Gallup Real Estate 101, and let's talk about that topic for a minute. Don't make price a factor when choosing your listing agent. I want to let you sellers know, one of the toughest decisions that you're going to make is, as a home seller, is going to be to decide where you want to price your home at. And you know, the challenge is if you price it too high, the house is just going to sit there on the market with little or no activity, and you're never going to be able to sell it. The flip side of that is if you price it too low, you end up leaving a lot of money on the table, and then you're kicking yourself when you close had in your pocket. So if you're choosing a real estate agent based on which agent says they can sell the home for more, you might be making one of the biggest mistakes that can cost you a lot of money, and I'm going to explain that here in just a few minutes. This decision, if it's not an informed decision, can lead to frustration, it can lead to loss of value, and it can lead to extended time on the market. So stick around, because today we're going to talk about the dangers of overpricing your home. We're going to talk about the number one reasons, or the reasons you shouldn't overprice your home. We're going to talk about real estate agents who are okay with letting you overprice their home and why they do it. And we're going to help you to determine a realistic market value on your house. And if you stick around into the end, I'm going to give you one great tip that might make the difference in selling, and it's going to whether your house is going to sell for top dollar or not. So after this video today, I'm hoping that you as a consumer are going to be a little bit better prepared to enter the real estate market, well informed and able to make better decisions for you and your family. So comment below, let us know what you think, and share this video with friends or family. That way we can get them good information to help them get top dollar from their sale. So let's just continue jumping right in. Let's talk about the dangers of overpricing your house. Guys, the process of selling your home can be an emotional roller coaster, and one that the home seller may not be adequately prepared for. Because each of us wants to get the highest possible price, there is it's an emotionally charged situation, and these emotionally charged decisions need to be made. No homeowner wants to sell their house, close on the transaction, and then realize they could have netted tens or thousands of dollars more in the end. Unfortunately, this is where home sellers get into trouble. We let emotions get in the way of logic, and without some fundamental information, the ill-informed homeowner may make some critical mistakes. The results of these mistakes may be longer marketing times as one, but believe it or not, it can actually result in the property selling less than what the market value is. So let's talk about the number one reason why you should not overprice your home. That brings us right to here. And you ready? You should not overprice your home for one simple reason: it's not going to sell. When preparing for this video, I did a Google search on the top reasons a home is not selling in today's market. And can you guess what the number one reason for a large number of these lists, the number one reason on a large number of these lists, what it was? You guessed it. The home is overpriced. That's why it's not selling. So let's talk about some of the reasons. I believe we're right down here. Some of the reasons that homeowners overprice their homes. We hear this a lot. The home seller says, I need to get X number of dollars for it to make my move easier. Unfortunately, buyers don't care what you need to get out of the sale of your house to make your life easier. What buyers do care about is making sure that they're paying a fair market value on the house. And overpricing a home for this reason is one of the quickest ways to have a potential sale blow up on you. The second reason we get a lot of is, well, we put $10,000s of upgrades into the house, so we should sell it for $10,000 more, right? The difference between upgrades and upkeep, first of all, I want to let everybody know. Most sellers think maintaining a property is an upgrade. Unfortunately, I've got bad news for you. Putting in new water heaters, repairing the roof, fixing leaks, those are they're not necessarily going to translate into a higher sales price. Those are things that you needed to do on the house to maintain it and to live in it. Also, doing upgrades right before the sale of the property may not generate an equal ratio of the money that you put into it. I'm going to show this on a near future video, so I don't want to get too much off topic today, but that's something just to be aware of. Another big mistake that sellers make on pricing their home, and the reason that they overprice, is they say, well, my neighbor's house just down the street sold for this much. Guys, just because your neighbor's house sold for that does not mean that your house is going to do the same. Square footage, condition, location, floor plan, and appeal can all be considerations that make a pricing difference between what your neighbor's house sold for and what yours might sell for. There's something called the principles of value. The principles of value, the acronym is DUST. It stands for desirability, utility, scarcity, and transferability. Your house might have different criteria under those principles of DUST than your neighbors down the road. So let's talk about real estate agents who are okay, I guess I'm down here, real estate agents who are okay with you overpricing your home and how to detect them. Guys, the first thing you need to understand about real estate agents is the average real estate agent nationally is only selling 8 to 10 homes per year. If you're settling for an average real estate agent, you're probably going to get average results. Keep that in mind. Let me ask you this. If you were working with a surgeon, you needed to go in, you needed to get an operation done, and you're working with a surgeon, would you trust that person to cut you open? Or would you look for the doctor who maybe is doing this operation a little bit more frequently? Something else you need to know about real estate agents that are okay with you overpricing their home. 9 out of 10 real estate agents receive very little training on how to price a home. Continuing education for pricing home strategies is not a requirement, so a lot of agents don't take them. Real estate agents are taught in school that if they want to make it in the business, that they need to focus on the listing side of the business, but they never actually take the time working with buyers to really understand what the market and what the value of something is. They lack the ability to foresee what their buyers are looking for and what those realistic market values might be. And I'm not saying that some of these agents aren't just really fantastic and great people. They might even be trying their best. They just haven't developed the skills to be an effective listing agent and help you get the most money for your house. So, some listing agents, oh, this is great on the reasons, or some agents who are okay with you overpricing your home. Some real estate agents will actually use your property, your overpriced listing, to attract buyers from sign calls and then spin those buyers from those sign calls to other properties that they have listed. And they're okay with you overpricing your house because they know they're going to get the influx of buyers. But rest assured, in due time, they're going to ask you to do significant price reductions once the advertising has run its course and they're no longer getting the buyers from your property. Let's talk real briefly about the 120-day rule. We're going to revisit that here in this video. Statistics from the National Association of Realtors say that after 120 days, buyers perceived that there was something wrong with the house. After 120 days on the market, buyers perceived there was something wrong with the house. Homes that stayed on the market that long actually sold for less than what the market value was. So, the sellers of those homes actually took below market offering prices because they needed to offer the lower market than the market value pricing to generate buyers' interest once they did do the price reduction. And of course, the buyers made lower offers because of that. So, let's talk about some of the ways to weed out maybe these agents that are okay with you overpricing your home. Number one, you should be looking for past results. What are their statistics? 3 statistics that you should ask every real estate agent to know. What are your average days on market? How long does it take you to sell a house? What is your average list price to sales price ratio? If you're telling me to list my house at $200,000, how close to that $200,000 can I expect? And then the third thing is the length of listing agreements. You should know how long your real estate agent is asking you to list your property for. Shorter listing agreements mean that real estate agents have to be more attentive to getting things done for you. And then the last thing that you should know as far as past results are the number of listings sold versus the number of listings expired that your real estate agent has. Something else that I want you to consider on weeding out some of these agents that are willing to overprice your home. Do they provide you a written market analysis? A written market analysis about what's going on in the market around you. Do the comparables they're using make sense? Are there adjustments being made based on square footage, condition, amenities, location, and stuff, just like in an appraisal? And does the agent actually have knowledge of those comparables in that report? That's so important because you actually want to be working with an agent who walked these comparables and is very, very familiar with them. So jumping on to the next part, let's talk about lasting and damaging effects of overpricing your home, because sometimes there's this propensity, well, let's try it at this price and see what happens, and then we'll do price reductions later. Well, the big reason that you as a home seller do not want to overprice your home is because there can be lasting and damaging effects in doing so. So let's talk about a few of them here. A few minutes ago, we talked about the 120-day rule. Homes that have been on the market for longer than 120 days are perceived to have something wrong with them. This is coming from the National Association of Realtors. Regardless of the accuracy of this statement, it doesn't mean that there is something wrong with your house. It just means the buyer's perception is that there's something wrong with your house. This perception can lead to homes actually selling for less than market value when the time comes. So staying on the market for 120 days can be really, really damaging to our potential home sellers. Let's talk about overlooked consequence of pricing your home is this. The principle of substitution. If the buyer can get what they perceive as the same thing for a lesser price, they will always take the lesser price. So if you're overpricing your home, it actually makes other homes on the market look more appealing. For example, if you have a 1,500 square foot home and the neighbor down the street also has a 1,500 square foot home, and your home is $20,000 more, that makes their house look like a better deal down the road. So that's something you want to consider, and you don't often think about when you're overpricing homes. Something else here, let's see, an overpriced home has potential to scare off buyers. This is great. Buyers who are working with good real estate agents may be able to see an overpriced home a mile away. The agent who's looking out for the buyers may dissuade the buyer from seeing the home because they already deem that it's overpriced. So even if they're not working with an agent, they may be able to see that other homes online are not priced or they're priced significantly lower than the overpriced home, and they may choose to pass on it. All right, so lastly, and maybe the most important, are the potential appraisal issues with an overpriced home. Let me explain. Even if the buyer is uninformed and they make an offer on an overpriced home, it does not mean that the transaction is going to close. Probably 90% of the buyers that we're working with are going to need financing on their homes, and with financing comes an appraisal. And while you might be able to overprice the home because of a poorly trained real estate agent, it's unlikely that you're going to get the appraised value over an overpriced home at the inflated price. When the appraisal comes in short, you're either going to have to sell at the appraised price, or you have the possibility of losing that buyer. This can cost you both time and money, and it can be a huge inhibitor to securing another buyer once that first transaction terminates. So let's talk about some information here about how to realistically determine your home's value. And with that, for the purpose of being accurate in this information, I want to just take a moment and define market value of a home. And this is what the textbook definition is. The most probable price a property should bring in a comparative open market under all conditions requisite to a fair sale under the guidelines published by Fannie Mae. Now that's the technical side of it, right? So what I want you guys to know is that basically both the buyer and seller are motivated to complete the purchase. Both parties are well informed and well advised about the market, and a reasonable time for the property to be exposed to the market has happened. And so these are things that determine the market value. So how do you determine the most realistic value of your home? Well, I want to let you guys know as homeowners, the assessed value, what you're paying your property taxes on, is not the best way to determine your home's value. The assessed value is not specifically using sold comparables over the last 6 or 12 months. And if you've owned your home for a long time, the assessed value is limited to something that's called lightning tax laws, where they can't assess more than 3% of the value of your house every year that you live in it. So let's talk about the first and most expensive way of getting a real market value on your house, and that is to pay for an appraisal. Now, is looking for past sold comparables over the last 6 to 12 months. They show where the market has been. Current homes under contract that have not closed yet could affect the overall value of an appraisal as they get towards closing and such, so you want to be aware for it. One thing you want to be aware about the appraisal is you're going to pay for an appraisal up front. That does not mean that your buyer is going to be able to use your appraisal rather, when they go to buy your house using the financing. The bank is going to want to get their own appraisal on the property, and so you just might be getting that just for the effect of knowing the value of your home. So the question might pop up is there a way to get an idea of what my home might be worth without paying a $600 to $700 appraisal? And I'm going to tell you there is. You can get a comparative market analysis or also a CMA from a good agent. And let me talk to you about this really quick. CMAs are often free services that real estate agents provide to their clients. It gives you an idea of what has recently sold using the same comparables that your appraiser might. It gives you an idea of what's currently on the market, and it can give you an idea of what a likely sales price is, and it doesn't cost you anything. So let's talk about some great tips for choosing an all-star real estate agent when selling your home or even just preparing a market analysis. And I want you guys to know your all-star real estate agent may not be the agent who says that they can get you the most for the home, because they're being realistic with you. They're not promising you the stars and not hitting it. They're giving you the realistic values. They provide a sound strategy to create an environment for the home to get sold for top dollar in the most reasonable time possible. So you should ask yourself when you're talking to these agents, does what that agent is what they're saying, does it make sense? So I'm going to give you some good ideas about how to choose a better listing agent. And if you stay tuned until the end, I'm going to give you the one best tip that might determine how much your house is likely going to be sold at. So anyway, which agent to choose when you're doing your market analysis? For one, remember that the average real estate agent in the nation is only selling 8 to 10 transactions per year. That does not mean that they're selling 8 to 10 listings a year. It means they're closing 8 to 10 transactions. This means they could be working with buyers and they may have no idea how to effectively price a home. So you do want to get an agent with some experience. The three numbers that we talked about earlier that you want them to know: average days on market, average list to sales price, and average or the number of ratio of listings sold versus listings expired that they have. Any real seasoned, real all-star agent is going to be able to spout those numbers off just like that for you. You might want to find out the agent's past transactions. How many transactions did you sell last year, Mr. Agent? And how many of those were buyer transactions? How many of those were seller transactions? You might want to find out if they had some continuing education in pricing property to sell. Might be a good indicator if they are better listing agents, if they've actually done some additional work to price your property correctly. And of course, there are some certifications out there. One of the new ones that the National Association of Realtors just came out with is the Pricing Strategies Advisor certification. The PSA certification actually focuses on how homes are appraised, and those people who are certified as PSAs can probably do a little better job for you on pricing. You want to get another thing to look for as an all-star agent is somebody who knows your neighborhood. Oh my goodness. Somebody who's walked the properties in the report, in the CMA that they've given you, and somebody who has a proven track record of success. Somebody, you might also want to look for somebody who's going to do a written market analysis. I cannot tell you how often I walk in, I talk to somebody, and they've talked to 2 or 3 agents, and nobody's provided you a written market analysis, and they say no. It absolutely offends me. Those written market analytics should include comparables that make sense, adjustments based on square footage, amenities, and those principles of value that we talked about. Someone who's willing to sit down and explain the analytics and what they mean to you and your family, and someone who's going to talk effective. They're going to develop an effective pricing strategy to help you get the job done. These are ways that you can find out if they're all-star agents, really, really professionals who who are doing your market analytics, or if there's somebody who may not really know what they're doing. So let's go to the final tip. And guys, you've stuck with me through this video. I guess we're probably going to be running about 20 minutes on this video. So I think it's time to give you guys one really, really great tip as a home seller to get the highest possible sales price in the most reasonable time. You probably want to know, are you ready? Just lay the groundwork. If you're selling something and it was the best deal in the world, but nobody knew you were selling it. If you're selling a $100 bill for $90 and nobody knew you were selling it, what would the results be? So what I'm talking to you guys about is without exposure, buyers will not come. Without significant exposure, only a few buyers are going to come. And if there's a frenzy around your property, you will potentially have more than one offer to contend with, and that literally puts you as a home seller in the best position possible. So ask your agent, what's your marketing plan? That's my tip for you. What's your marketing plan? Most agents are going to respond that they put it in the MLS, they cross their fingers, they close their eyes, and they pray that your house is going to sell. Guys, I want to let you know, praying is a really, really bad strategy. Agents who are dead serious about the results are making sure your property is exposed to the highest number of potential buyers. Their marketing plan is robust. These agents understand who the targeted buyers are, and it does not just rely on the internet to get the word out. It might involve some hard work that requires a lot more time and effort, but it's going to produce a better result for you. I cannot tell you how many times in my career I've taken an expired listing from a competitor, left the price on the home almost exactly as the same as they had it, and just had an effective marketing plan, and I get the home sold within a matter of weeks. So to finish up with this episode of Going Deep with Gallup Real Estate 101, I'm hoping that this gives you some content that can arm you and give you some great information when choosing a listing agent on your house. I'm hoping you guys will give me some comments down below about this show. Share the video with your friends and family who are thinking about buying their homes, and come back next week to hear another great topic on Going Deep with Gallup Real Estate 101. Thanks, guys. Take care, Gallup. Talk to you later.